Hey, it's me, Bobbert, and welcome to my Minerva podcast. And this time, we're going to make some predictions on Nintendo's rumored next console, which people are calling it the Switch 2, which is, well, pretty much people are predicting that it's going to be a upgraded version of the Nintendo Switch. So, this little prediction video is going to be mostly for fun. I got to do my best to make some educated guess. That's in big quotation mark. But, of course, this is more like fantasy booking, where I, want / expect Nintendo to do. Mostly want because some of these expectations are kind of crazy. So keep that in mind. At this point, this has been, some talk about it. Nothing, no solid information. And hopefully you enjoyed this little workout I'm doing. It's footage of Ring Fit Adventure. It's a pretty good exercising game. Lost like almost 40 pounds, give or take. Really recommend this game. But anyways, pretty much I'm going to predict it's going to start like how the Nintendo Switch back in March 2017 started. I'm predicting it's going to start around April of 2024 and have like a similar strategy to the Nintendo Switch. Mostly I've been hearing rumors that Nintendo's not gonna announce a new console, whether it be a new version of Nintendo Switch or a brand new console, until, well, at least not in the fiscal year, which would be March of 2024. So I'm going with April of 2024. Though Nintendo has lied about that before in the past. I believe with the Nintendo 3DS XL, I believe, if I remember that correctly. But anyways, pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from April, which is the spring, and then go to the summer, fall, and winter/holiday. And I'm going to predict at least 4 games that Nintendo might release on the rumored Nintendo Switch 2, or like a more powerful system. The only rules I have is it has to be a Nintendo owned property, or at the very least, if it's involve a third party, that it has to be a game series that they worked with before. And I'm also going to add no Pokemon, mainly because even though Nintendo does have ownership of Pokemon, it seems like Game Freak does whatever they want with that series. And to also make the video a bit more interesting. So anyways, hopefully you understand my my format here, despite my speech impediment and lack of scripting there. But anyways, let's go on with the spring. Alright, let's assume that April of 2024 is going to be the launch of Nintendo's brand new console. And also want to add, there's not going to be many ports, because, well, if you're going with the theory that it's going to be a Nintendo Switch 2, with upgrades, then I'm going to assume that it's going to be backwards compatible with the regular Switch. I don't really, unless they audition the whole handheld to home console idea, I don't really see them going back to CDs. I think they're going to use cartridge, and most likely they're going to have backward compatibility with the brand new console. At least that's my assumption. So anyways, I think the first game is going to be most likely a big first party game. They probably want to replicate the success of the Switch back in 2017. But since a Zelda game came out already, I'm predicting it's going to be a Super Mario 3D game. Many are predicting Super Mario Odyssey 2, and that's a possibility, but I think Nintendo usually likes to have like a unique 3D Mario game on the platforms, at least most of the time. Of course, there are, sequels like Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, but that's on the same console, and the only one close to being on different platform, is Super Mario 3D Land and Super Mario 3D World, both on the 3DS and Wii U respectively. But I'm predicting it's going to be a new 3D Mario game. Probably not Odyssey 2, but I won't be disappointed if it is Odyssey 2. Next is they probably want to show off, I'm assuming they're going to have motion controls. They want to show that off, and I think ARMS 2, I think they want to at least try to get that series to be a bit more popular. I think that'd be a nice way to show off the motion controls and a nice multiplayer game as well. I know it's not like a super strong popular franchise, but if they are, trying to, give this game another shot, having it released around the launch window would be pretty good. Next one is probably my craziest prediction. Well, he's tied for my craziest prediction in the spring lineup. Is Metroid Prime 4. I do think this game would be moved to the new Nintendo Switch consoles, especially if they are remaking not only Metroid Prime 1, which is already out, but 2 and 3 as well. I think it would make more sense to, move it to the next Nintendo platform and show off the actual graphical capabilities of that. Now, to be fair, I can see Metroid Prime 4 being moved towards the fall or even the holiday. But I think Nintendo wants to have a strong start. And finally, the fourth pick of the spring, and this is also a crazy one, is a Splatoon spin-off game. I don't think it's going to be Splatoon 4 just yet, since Splatoon 3 is still kind of fresh. But I do think Nintendo, because how popular the franchise is, they want to make spin-off. And the craziest idea is to combine it with another series that Nintendo owns, which is Rhythm Heaven. So pretty much the gameplay of Rhythm Heavens, but give it a Splatoon makeover. I think that would be a fun idea. Of course, they probably want some new IPs to show off the capability of new consoles, but I can't exactly predict that. And it's much more interesting to predict already existing franchises. Now on to the summer. It started off as a crazy one, and I'll admit I pretty much ran out of idea, but I wanted to have like a big game to represent the summer. Originally I had like a pretty good big game, but I moved it to the holiday. But I ended up changing it to Star Fox game, a brand new one. In fact, Nintendo wants to get this franchise up and running, give it another shot, and they probably want to replicate that success, the same way they did with Metroid. I'll admit, Star Fox is it's a wild guess for me, because I'm not sure what else they could put in the summertime. I mean, they do got games. It's just that either they have, like a recent installment like Splatoon 3, or even Animal Crossing to a certain extent, that's already been released. I mean, I guess it's not impossible for Animal Crossing game to be released around that time, but I think they would want to wait until they actually release a new game. But I went with Star Fox because that franchise is kind of been dormant a bit ever since Star Fox Zero. I if I would have to pick a developer for that game, I would give Treasure a shot. And maybe it won't be like a big AAA game, but maybe like a small downloadable game that may not be it's just the story may be basic, but the gameplay would be pretty fun because Treasure are pretty good with the shooting games. But the actual big game, the next one, will probably be a 2D Kirby game. House Laboratory usually like to release a Kirby game like almost every year, maybe even multiple ones. I picked 2D Kirby because that's a strong possibility. I mean, it'd be nice to be a sequel to the 3D Kirby games, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, or even some of the other spin-offs. But I went with 2D Kirby because I think that'd be a pretty good fit. The third one is I'm predicting a Nintendo Switch Sports 2, pretty much to again show off the capabilities of the motion controls. I'm going to predict that the motion controls would be better, more advanced, and they probably want to show off like a lot of that stuff. And I think a sports game would be an easy way to lure in the casual audience. And the final one is the crazy pick, and I think Nintendo will probably pull the trigger on this one, and that's a personal league game, but not as like a Pokemon personal league or Yoshi personal league. I think they're gonna go with actually Penal the Pawn. Use that the actual characters in that game. I think that would be a nice little game. Get fans excited because they really want Penal the Pawn to be actually known outside of Japan, and I think again it'd be a nice little game. Okay, on to the fall. Usually they don't have too many big games on this list, and to give you an idea of the fall, at least my idea, it starts around mid-August to late October. Even though you could probably say late October is partly a holiday, but it's give you an idea of the time frame. And I think the big game that could possibly be in the fall of 2014, 2024. Wow, okay, it's getting old, I guess. But the first game I would predict is the Legend of Zelda, and it's the overhead game, a brand new one, similar to the remake of Link's Awakening. Now, it could be a remake of the Oracle of Ages or Seasons. That could be a big possibility. Combine that into one big game. But it'd be too early for a new 3D Zelda game, even if it's a port. And again, I'm assuming there's going to be backwards compatibility with the original Switch games. If it doesn't have a backwards compatibility, then I can also predict like a port of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom in one cart. That would be pretty cool, but again, I'm just going in as predicting, the Switch 2 would be backwards compatible. The next game I would predict is another Metroid game, and this one would be either a remake of Metroid Fusion or an HD version of Samus Return with the gameplay of Metroid Dread. I think Metroid's pretty hot. I think Nintendo want to really keep that franchise going, and releasing a Metroid Prime and a 2D Metroid around the same year would be a pretty interesting strategy, especially in the first year of a brand new console. And I think a remake of one of these two older games would be a great way to get that game out quickly. Now, I guess technically the next Metroid game that should get a remake is Super Metroid, but I think because that game is so perfect in the minds of Metroid fans, and it is a pretty good game, I don't think Nintendo's really going to mess with that unless they just really want to gain fans' interest. But I think Fusion would be the better choice, mainly because of the story, or even just a graphical upgrade of Samus Return would be also pretty good. Next is going to be from Platinum Games, and I think it's going to be a sequel to Astro Chain 2. This one is, I'm not really confident about this pick. I mean, I don't dislike Astro Chain, but I feel like people don't talk about it enough anymore. Although it sold pretty well initially, I think people are not really starving for that game. But since Bayonetta 1, 2, or 3, already on the Switch, I think it'd be too soon to announce a fourth one. I guess the Wonderful 101, a sequel to that, could be a good choice. But I went with Astro Chain 2 because I feel like that's the game that Platinum Game would take a chance on if they couldn't get like a Bayonetta in time. They'd probably be working on, already early on. And the final pick for the fall of 2024. Again, these are just games that Nintendo published, not counting third parties, released by itself. And I think it's going to be from Next Level Games. I mean, I was thinking about Luigi Mission 4. Wouldn't be a bad pick, but I think you should rate on that. And make it a bigger game, like an open world game, similar to Zelda. But, that's just me. But I think the game that Next Level Games should be focusing on next, and, it's a bit of a shorter title, and that's another Punch-Out game, like a sequel. Especially if it got motion controls, they could short out off a bit, even though it'll probably be similar to the Wii version. But but I think a Punch-Out game, people would go crazy for that. It'd be a great game in the fall, or even close to the holiday. But I think people are really itching for a Punch-Out game. Okay, the last one is the holiday, where Nintendo will bring out the big guns, hopefully. And the first one would probably be the most obvious pick, at least what I think would be Nintendo's obvious pick, and that's Mario Kart 9. And maybe have it bundled with the new console during that time. Now, I originally predict that to be in the summer, because I think that'd be a nice, great summer game for everybody to enjoy, especially the kids who would be out of school during that time. But to be honest, I couldn't think of another big holiday title that Nintendo could possibly release during that time, so I decided to move Mario Kart 9 into that slot. The only thing I can really wish for Mario Kart 9 to make it stand out from all the other Mario Karts is to have a double dash mode, have one mode to play like traditional Mario Kart with, just a single character, and, a double dash mode to, play the mode similar to Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube. I think that would be, a neat addition to that series. The next game I'm predicting is, I think some of you have heard rumors about this game, like a couple of years ago, and that's the brand new Donkey Kong game. I think some people are hoping for like a 3D Donkey Kong game, like a platformer, but most people are saying it's a 2D platformer that's most likely coming out, and that's my prediction as well. I'm not sure it's going to be similar to the Donkey Kong Country the Donkey Kong Country game. the one made by Retro Studios, but I think a Donkey Kong game is coming pretty soon and possibly coming to the brand new platform. The dev game is actually going to be a port of a Wii U game. I know I said no ports, but I was speaking specifically for the Nintendo Switch because I think that's going to be backwards compatible. But the Wii U game I think should be ported on this brand new console is Xenoblade Chronicle X. Monolith has been pretty good trying to release a Xenoblade game like every 1 or 2 years, give or take. I mean, they started with Xenoblade 2, and then I believe a remake of Xenoblade 1, and they also got Xenoblade 3, and that's not counting the DLC that was announced earlier. But I think Xenoblade Chronicle X will be a good fit for that platform, especially when they say they doubt that that game would run well on Nintendo Switch. I think they should wait for the brand new console to release and port it to that console. And the last one is a crazy guess. I feel like Nintendo and Team Ninja have a good relationship. For those who don't know, Team Ninja is the one who makes the Dynasty Warrior games, but usually use Nintendo franchises. I'm pretty sure it's either going to be a Fire Emblem Warriors installment, which I believe that was released like a couple of years ago. Like I believe it was Three Hopes. This is based on Fire Emblem Three Houses. Or, a sequel to Hyrule Warriors Asia Calamity and continue that story. I went with the Hyrule Warriors one because I think it makes more sense. And that's assuming that that this new console will have backwards compatibility. If it doesn't, then I think it's going to be like a deluxe version of one of those two games with all the DLC. But if I had to guess a brand new game, a brand new installment, it'd be Hyrule Warriors. Although I did try to think of another Nintendo franchise they could use, I really can't really think of one that fits the Nintendo franchise. Mario and Kirby seems like too kiddie of a franchise, even though Kirby can get kind of dark at times. I was trying to my second guess would be Star Fox, but I don't think Nintendo will want to risk alienating the Star Fox fans with another spin-off. But pretty much that's my whole list for Nintendo Switch 2 prediction. Sorry if that sounds too crazy. If you have predictions of your own, tell me what you think and what you want to see from, the predecessor of the Nintendo Switch. But before I go, I do have some rejects idea, stuff that I thought about but decided against it for numerous reasons. One of them was a Bayonetta trilogy. Which is consistent of all 3 games, and maybe even that spin-off with different gameplay. I forgot the name of it. I'm pretty sure it's Cereza, but I forgot the rest of the title. But I didn't predict that one because I assumed that the next console will be backwards compatible with Nintendo Switch. My other idea is Ring Fit Adventure 2. This game sold very well, I believe about 15 million as of this recording, but I'm sure they want to save that for later on, when they have like a good number of consoles sold. That way it has a fine install base to people to jump in. The dead one was Pokken Tournament 2. I like the game on the Wii U. I haven't played the one on Nintendo Switch. I think it'd be possible to have a sequel to that game, but I think people lost interest and don't really care about it anymore. And the final one, this is the craziest one, something that hasn't been done before, is a Kid Icarus 2D game made by Ray Ford, the same people who makes the Shantae game. I think if we have a Kid Icarus game that plays a bit similar to Shantae, and has the humorous story writing of Kid Icarus Uprising, has a similar story, I think that could be like a pretty fun game. But I'm not sure if Nintendo and Ray Ford are interested in making a game like that. Of course, a sequel to Kid Icarus Uprising would also be nice, but I think a 2D Kid Icarus game would be a more interesting idea, at least at this point. But anyways, I hope you at least find this video, enjoyable, even if it's most of my picks are bad ideas. But I don't know. It's like I'm pretty sure Nintendo is in the near future are going to announce something. Maybe not this year, but I don't know. It's like it seems like the Nintendo Switch is kind of losing steam. It had a pretty good run, but I think now is the time to upgrade to hopefully 4K. I don't expect it to be as powerful as the Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5, but here's hoping that the next Nintendo console will be great. This is me, Bobbert, and I catch you guys later.